Hey there, what's up? It's Colleen here. If we've never met, hello. If we have, how you doing? I have such a fun training today. It's not really fun. It's more fun because of the results that can happen from when you apply what I'm about to talk about and have the awareness around what I'm about to talk about so that you can really just start being who you are, doing what really would light you up, feeling more confident and expressing yourself out in the world, as your most brilliant self. Doing what you're meant to be doing, feeling motivation, and going for your actual dream, even if you don't know what that is yet. So let's go ahead and dive in. Today's training is on why you feel like you don't know what you want. I'm just reading it here, but I like planning this out. So why you feel like you don't know what you want and how to remove the blocks that are actually keeping you from knowing, okay? So if you're feeling at all stuck or just like, to be really frank, like worthless where you are or doing what you are. Maybe you're not feeling authentic anymore, in the career you're in, but you don't know how to get out, or you don't know how to even tell what you want, maybe because you've listened to other people for so long, or just feel like you couldn't really do what you want and actually succeed. And maybe you don't even know what you want, but you're not feeling fulfilled. So we're going to talk today about why that is and how to get over it so you can actually start feeling confident living out your best life. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. So I'll just do a little quick intro here. I help people with purpose, and for 3 years now have used my own intuitive ability to help clear out blocks that might be keeping people stuck, and then find the direction and the path that allows that person to move forward in fulfilling their dream and their purpose and knowing what's right for them, feeling the confidence to go do it. But a huge piece of that process, because it is a process. It's a process, really, there's 4 different phases that I've seen people go through and that I've also been through in terms of knowing our purpose. So let's go over those really quick. The first phase of purpose, alignment, purpose, finding purpose, doing what you really want, is feeling like I don't even know what I want, right? And it's kind of that dead-end place, whether it's you're fresh out of college or graduated from grad school or had your kids leave and you're now an empty nester, or even been in a career for so long that you don't even know what you want because you've just been in the routine of that and you can't figure it out. So that's really the first phase. So usually phase 1 of finding your purpose is kind of that moment of surrender because you don't know what else to do. And maybe this phase lasts a while, of feeling frustrated, of feeling just stuck, and like you don't even know what you want. You couldn't even figure it out, but all that you do know is that you're feeling not in flow, you're not feeling authentic, and you're feeling like there's something more. But a lot of worthlessness can come through because it's like, I feel that inside, but I don't know if I'm kidding myself. Like maybe that's, anything that I could imagine is just a big dream, and you're probably not doing something that you totally love. That was the case for me. I was an elementary school teacher, and I majored in elementary ed and Spanish and minored in psych, but I got my degree for elementary ed, and once I finally started teaching, I was really starting out by being a substitute and got hired as a full-time substitute at a small school. So I was like, okay, great, foot in the door. But there came a moment, and it was really, really subtle, just over time, that I felt like not with it with the teaching thing. And I couldn't figure out whether this was something wrong with me, whether I just needed to be trying harder, whether I just needed a little more motivation. But honestly, it came down to just me feeling like I was incomplete. So let me know in the comments if with a 1, or also if you're watching this replay, let me know with the little replay if you can relate to that. I remember this moment, and it was when I was the substitute teacher. There was kind of this big promise that I'd be hired as a full-time teacher the next year, and so I always felt I needed to be motivated to show off what I knew, or show the lesson plans, and I wasn't that into it, and I just kept feeling incomplete and what's wrong with me. Okay, so I remember this moment where I was at the copy machine and doing copies for other teachers. And that was part of my job as this like fill-in person. I did the after school pre-K program, which like drained me so much, just not my thing, but had to do it. And then I also made copies for everybody, and I like ran the lunch program for this small school. It's nuts. Anyway, so I remember just feeling so depleted and like really worthless, because here I was facing the copy machine, making worksheets for coloring for first and second grade, and like charts and stuff for them to color and count. Not even my zone of genius at all. Like, I wanted to be teaching middle schoolers. And so here I was making all these copies for other teachers and stuff around stuff I didn't even really care about. And my hair was pulled back. I was wearing like an Old Navy skirt, you know, Dansko shoes. And it was just like, so like this. And I remember there was a couple teachers. I looked down to the right, and down this really lit hall with the white tile, I remember these two teachers coming and talking together. And I just smiled and I nodded. And something I know about feng shui now, because I'm getting certified in that, is your power position is when you can see the door and see where other people are coming. So I was not in my power position facing this copy machine, making copies for other people, and totally having my back to anybody coming. So I was actually literally energetically feeling very powerless, and giving away a lot, you know what I mean? So here I was just like in my little ponytail doing these copies and seeing these teachers coming down the hall. They seemed so happy, and they had like community. They were talking together. To me, they just looked really on purpose. And here I was, as they passed behind me, didn't acknowledge me, like walked away. I went back to face the copy machine and these little charts of coloring for second graders, and I was just like, what am I doing? And I just felt like I turned it in towards me. It wasn't like, what's wrong with those teachers? You know, I didn't feel this moment of empowerment of like, I'm going to change my life. It was really this deep down pit of like, what is wrong with me? I am worthless. I feel so worthless. I can't even like I can't even get my job off the ground. Like, this thing that I was supposed to be doing and was really good at, like, I couldn't even get it done. And I felt so terrible. Like, I just had nothing to offer and just kept giving away so much to something else that didn't even mean anything to me. And I think so much emotion is coming up right now because, like, I just remember that so strongly. And it sucks so bad when you feel like you aren't aligned, you are worthless, and you're just dissatisfied doing what you really want to do. You know, so it took a while from that moment, but that was phase one of finding your purpose, because, you know, it's that rock bottom place where you think, I don't even know what I want, but this just isn't it. You know, so do let me know in the comments if that resonates with you at all. But it's just like, I really feel if you're going through that, you know, what that's like. Even if you've been in something for a while and you were good at it at one point, like I was really good at teaching when I student taught and all this stuff, and that's why I got into it. But 2 years in, it just felt so different, and I wasn't even completing and accomplishing what I knew I could. And there was this little voice inside that said, you know, you could do something better, I just don't know what it is. You know, and it was like the most frustrating thing to have that sensation and have that knowing, and knowing that I could gift something or that I could be something more, you know, and it just wasn't following through. It just wasn't happening. And I didn't even know the path to get towards it. It was just like so debilitating. And what I also just want to share is that, you know, there is a way out. There is a light at the end of the tunnel if you do feel that way, because you feel like that for a reason. You know, and I think even though it was a journey, and now what I teach and what I coach around is helping people, you know, turn that gap and make it shorter so that you don't have to wait like 3 or 4 years down the road to just discover your intuitive gifts or discover what you're really meant to be doing in your bigger picture, and fulfilling that and helping more people through that. Like, there's so much meant for you. There is so much meant for you. And I think I'm just like crying so much, because if I had stopped there, like, I wouldn't be making this video. Like, I wouldn't have helped the people that I have. And it's not about me. It's more about like what we're all here to do. And I think it's so much easier to hide. And that's really the block that keeps us from even knowing what we want, you know. But I do just want to end this little story here with like that 4 years doesn't have to be that long for you. And if you're at that phase, it's okay, because there's a way to get out. And if you ever need help with that, please do call me, private message me, we'll get on a phone call, or just let me know in the comments, like that's something you need help with, because I'm so here for you. But anyway, like you are meant for something more is what I want to share. Okay, and here I am, like I'm the reflection of that, you know, of every single person who feels that way or has felt that way, and maybe still somewhere in between. Like you can look at this video and think, this is me. This is me in the future, doing what I really want, whatever that version is for you, helping people and making a difference in the way that you would really love. Okay, so just saying, I am evidence that this is possible, because what am I doing now? I'm full-time in my own business, you know, and that's just because I want to do that, right? So you could be working for a company and helping them with marketing, or be a healer for a bigger, you know, intuitive healing center. It doesn't matter, like whatever that is for you. You could be working in a job. That's totally cool. But just feeling aligned and lit up by it is key, right? And knowing that you're on track with that. So where am I now? I help people figure that purpose out, and full-time in my career. And even if I get sad like this or emotional, like I seriously am way farther ahead than when I was making copies for other people, not knowing what I wanted. So did not expect that coming. Thank you guys for being here if you're still for watching. But I do want to get into what I promised today, which is talking about the block that does keep you stuck from what you want to know. So I think I'm going to just take a pause here for a second. Okay, so if you feel like you're the person who doesn't even know what you want, right? I kind of touched on it just there in my story. But the thing that can really block you is actually a fear of, one, what other people will think, and this really huge fear of you shining super bright. And even when I get on like these videos and I want to share my stuff, like there's sometime a moment where I'm like, oh no, and I don't want to shine bright. I don't know what other people would think, or I don't know if I'm annoying my family by making these videos and they could leave me. And those types of fears are innate for everybody. Everybody. Really, it comes down to fear of abandonment. And through that, thinking if I shine too bright, or if I'm who I really want to be, or if I'm who I really am, I will be shunned, or I will not fit in. And that, my friend, is actually the block that keeps you stuck. And so, you know, we all know the quote of like, you're not afraid of failure, you're afraid of your magnificence, by Marianne Williamson. Awesome, great. But sometimes I think it can get a little cliche, and we're like, no, it's not. Like, I'm super afraid of failure. So yes, we can definitely be afraid of failure, but it's like, why are we afraid of failure? Because it boils down to, what would others think of me? And that has a lot of shame around it, right? And thinking they would leave me. Okay, so just tap in, like thinking and just getting clearer on like your own fears of why you wouldn't go after it. And if you just keep narrowing it down, typically it totally goes down to a fear of abandonment and what other people would think. And in the psychological world, okay, so note that, pause it if you need to, but in the psychological world, they call that codependency, okay? So codependency is, in my opinion, something that everybody might have a slight degree of. And so the more that we can just like get this education out, the better. But specifically people who maybe were in a home where their dad was like angry or alcoholic, or mom, but just feeling like you had to make somebody else happy and you had to take care of them, okay? So if that was you, that you could also have seriously this codependency block of thinking, I have to make sure they're okay. I have to make sure they're happy. And like, if I'm myself all the time, I can't do that because they might get mad at me, or I won't be doing my job. Okay, so those all come from childhood, right? Like really, really young. Typically that split or that connection of, if I'm totally myself, I might be shunned, happens like 3 or 4, or sometimes younger, definitely before 7. And so that feeling of codependency and that energetic belief pattern that is in you, maybe now from again, having that family who might be alcoholic or just angry, or you had to take care of them, that's from when you were really young. And now the thing is, that's still carrying over until you clear it out. And so you might be at the point where you're like, God, I just want to be in the flow. I just want to feel motivated and make a difference, doing what I, with all my passions and making a living of it. What the heck is wrong with me? Or like, why is that not happening? I just want good habits. I want good morning routine. I want good structure. Like all of those things that would help your life like get to the next level, they're not happening. Why not? Maybe you really want to do a live like this and you're like, and then you're like, and why is that? Because it's the sphere of codependency and it's thinking about what other people would think. Okay. So it's like, that is the attachment we have to our family. Okay. I don't want to get too much into this right now. Like this could be a really long live, but all of it to say, the things that you really want are not happening because it's actually a fear of losing like the people you love and the people you think are keeping you safe, and your job as an individual, like taking care of other people. Okay, so that's all the codependency stuff. And we think, I want to do all these great things. I want to be a Tony Robbins. Like, yeah, but it's not happening. And why? Because of the codependency and our attachment to the people and our role in that. So if we lost that by doing what we love, that's kind of the connection. I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope I am. But it's like we would feel abandoned possibly just by shining or just by being ourselves because of that stuff. So that even keeps us from really knowing what we want or what I want, because it's a defense mechanism. It's like a protection. Okay. And honestly, how many times have you actually allowed yourself to dream? How many times was that actually encouraged after you got past 18? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's practical stuff. Or if you had to take care of other people, like you wouldn't be doing that. Right. And so I remember this one guy I worked with, he and I, we had worked at a steakhouse together, and he was like, Colleen, like, I just feel so stuck and I do not know what I want. I don't know what my purpose is. And I was like, cool, let's talk. So we talked, and he just was so frustrated because he's like, I don't even know. He was like, all I know is that I'm working at the steakhouse. I'm a vegetarian. I'm an environmentalist. This is not okay. I don't feel like I'm contributing to anything. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. And I just feel stuck and stagnant, and I don't know where my next steps are in life. Like, I don't know where I'm going. And I was like, okay, well, what do you really want? And he was like, well, I have no idea. That's the problem. That's why I'm talking to you. And I'm like, okay. But we started digging deeper. We started going into some of the blocks and the codependency and what would happen if, and what would that mean? Like lots of unraveling and getting the fears and the blocks out of the way. And finally, it was like right in the middle of the whole session, I was like, so what is it that you really want? And he looked around a little bit. He's like, well, because he was talking about getting a desk job at State Farm. And he's like, I've never had a desk job. Maybe that's what I want. But I was like, so what do you really want? And he was like, if I could do anything, I had this crazy idea. I went to Argentina and I worked, with some poor people in a nonprofit. And I saw them throwing away their cell phones. And I realized they could use those batteries to actually sell and create electricity if they only knew how to do it by turning them into solar panels. And he's like, I know it's crazy, but I've always had this dream of helping people in a nonprofit by maybe creating my own that I could go to Argentina and help the poor, become more financially stable through having their own solar panels through stuff that's thrown away. And I was like, well, hot damn. That's a big old, that is very clear, right? So what I have found is that actually a lot of us do know what we want. We really do. If we get really clear and go deeper and deeper, that little spark that, is sparking joy, like Marie Kondo, spark joy, like that's in there. That is so in there, that vision. And maybe you even see it right now. Maybe if you just allow yourself a little bit, what's the next step? What's the next dream? Even if it seems so unrelated to what you think your main mission in the world or your career path is, you probably do actually know what you really want deep down in this moment. Or could have a vision of your next step of your career path, or how you could serve the world with creativity or with whatever you have to offer. Testing. So think about that. But then I asked him, I was like, so why aren't you doing that? And he was like, I don't know. Right? And that's where the fears come in, because the fears keep it so unconscious, but then also keep you from taking action. Now, this is what's really exciting, okay? I took him through my process. So basically surrendering to hearing yourself and your guidance and your intuition, and then clearing out energetically the patterns and the blocks that are keeping you stuck. So some of that is belief, psychological reframing, and others are my own cool intuitive gift where I actually help you connect to the light. That's what I call it. Connect to source spirit. And then I literally can see the blocks or even feel them in my body. And then through that process of connection, we then can literally just blow up the block using that power of the light. I know it might sound weird, but like so many of my people have cleared stuff that has been with them since they were 7 years old. And they said, I cannot even believe it. But since that time we did that clearing, since that session, it was a month ago, I haven't been able to think of that same traumatic memory the same way. But now I feel so much clearer to just be who I am and go out and do what I want. Amazing. Confidence skyrocketing. So to me, there's like 2 layers of that clearing. It's energetic and then it's belief systems. But what that helps you do is not be so codependent and care what others think, or think you can't do it because, you know, I have to take care of others, whatever that's in your way. And it's from your programming, and that's okay. But when you clear it, that's when you can start getting really, really clear and actually acting out your purpose in the world. Okay, so then step 3 is just getting clear on what you want. And 4 is taking the action. And sometimes just that itself can like break you through the fear as well. There's sometimes specific actions that I can help you take or tell you what they are so that like you really go out and rock it and they're unique to you. But just even having the structure and like really taking the action to go out and do it, that's what gets you on your path. And so what happened with this fella? He took those steps. At the time, I didn't do my energetic clearing because I didn't know I had that yet, but we did the belief reframe and got clear on those desires, opened up, surrendered, and got those fears and codependencies out of the way, took action. Within a month, he had a full-time job at the best solar panel company in our town. And it's like amazing. And what's so cool is that happened within like weeks. And yet he had been spending months taking his time thinking, what's wrong with me? I don't know what I want. I guess I'll do something I hate. I don't know, like all of that tolerating. And like, I want you to know, I loved it when Abraham Hicks said it themselves. They don't like the word patience. Like the way that it's used, you don't have to be patient. Patience sometimes means you're just tolerating what you don't want. And if you stop tolerating it, then actually you'd get the clarity that you want because you'd be taking the next step. Does that make sense? You can be patient once you know what you want, but do not be patient in a job or in a situation where you feel mediocre, lackluster, it's against your values, you're not authentic, all that's, you're feeling like God is calling you to something new and you just don't know what it is. Stop waiting. Do not do that. Like, don't. That's not a value. That's not like cool to be like, I'm being patient. Like I could have been sitting at that copy machine forever if I had done that. And it was long enough, let me tell you. But my point is that when you clear out this stuff and you get clear on what you want, you can actually start to hear the guidance that's already urging you to watch this video right now. That's already maybe in your heart wanting to like go forward or feeling tense, like whatever it is, that guidance is there for you. And you actually getting alignment and taking like in reality the steps and the actions for you to live that dream can be really fast when you go through these steps. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments, okay, if that makes sense. But like, this is possible for you too. It's possible for all of us. And that's why I get live for everybody to see this, because it's so possible for you, So if you feel like you're tolerating, like you don't know what step, let's just do a little recap, okay? The first step is like, you probably don't know what you want because you're not allowing yourself to dream. And you probably are not allowing yourself to dream because 1, we weren't really taught that's kind of okay after 2nd grade and we're coloring, right? And then 2, a lot of the times there's energetic blocks or belief systems in the way that are keeping you from totally shining and being yourself. And a lot of the time it revolves around codependency, meaning you had to take care of somebody or make sure other people were happy when you were younger. And so you couldn't think about yourself or what you wanted. You had to take care of other people. You had to make sure they were okay. That was your role. And so when you let go of that, it's terrifying because we feel like we might get abandoned. And that fear of abandonment is what can, at the very low level that's like driving it all, could keep us from living our dream. And so what you need to do is clear out that fear, clear out that energy, and clear out the beliefs to show yourself you're not 8 anymore. You're not 7, and you can still have a connection to that family member that you feel you had that role with, and that's keeping you stuck. Like, you're not 7, but that 7-year-old is actually running the show. And so let's like bring both of them into completion where you feel yourself and feel like you will not be abandoned, but that your family can still love you. And that's part of the energetic work in some of this belief shifting. So it's very powerful. And what are the results of that? Total alignment, contentment, changing others' lives with your smile, because you'll have the confidence now to be who you are and do what you want. Clarity, definitely, because you're not feeling so stuck. And you just helping others and making a difference in the unique ways that will be shown to you, and the vision that you'll have. Just like my bud, who now is in the solar panel industry, working towards like his bigger dream. So all of that's possible for you too. And those are the steps, okay? So take those steps and let me know in the comments what resonates with you out of this story. What resonated with you? What's your major takeaways? If you want to talk more, definitely just send me a private message or leave me a note in the comments of, you know, and I can reach out if there's something more unique that is going on for you. Love to chat, love to keep this conversation going. So here for you, and I'm sending you a lot of love, because all I know, guys, is that each and every one of us does not have to stay at the copy machine, and we do not have to keep feeling like we're giving away our soul, you know, by not doing what we love. We just don't know how to figure out how to make it a living. Like, that doesn't have to be a thing, because when you clear out that codependency, that's when you can start seeing the vision, start hearing yourself, start feeling safe and guided and confident enough to go down the path that spirit is already showing you, okay? And maybe the first step was you watching this video today. So I'm so glad you're here. Keep taking the steps, stay in touch, like my business page, please, so you can see more of these videos, or become my best friend on Facebook. But no, for real, leave a comment, or if you want to reach out, just say, hey, tell me what you thought and how this resonated with you. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. So much love. Bye.